Welcome to the Good Rookie Show. My name's Faheem.
And my name is Nelly J, y'all, and we are good
That's
rookies.
right.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Good Tuesday. And guess what? It's the Good Rookie Show.
Yep, yep.
That's right, y'all. As you know, we come from Toronto, Canada, bring you the hottest topics in sports and culture and the absurd topics of the week. And y'all, on top of that, we are celebrating Women's History Month. So last week we got to honor Dawn Staley, and this week we got someone else we're going to honor. And we're so excited to kind of drop that information. So, Faheem, you had a busy last couple of weeks. I think the folks need to know, Faheem. Congratulations on your second bundle of joy. Your son. I remember we had who's on the show? Was it Andrew? We're guessing like you're gonna have a boy
Right.
or
It
a
was Andrew. It was
girl.
Andrew Miller.
You had
Right,
a
right,
boy.
right.
Congratulations, Raheem. How are you feeling?
Um, Blessed, first of all. That's yeah. It's an adjustment. Just it's a family, it's an additional member of the family.
Mm-hmm.
So it's growing, which is great. I mean, we'll see. It's fresh. I still got that post glow. It's been 2 days, so we'll see.
Well, I must speak for all the listeners and viewers out there. Congratulations from all your good rookies family. And so, yes, man, congrats. So
Mhm.
let's get, of course, congrats to wifey as well. I big up to her, you know what I'm saying? Because without her, man, whew.
Ah,
So big up to all
almost.
the mothers, and we're honoring Aisha today as well. All
Right.
right.
Well, like you mentioned, it's Women's Month, International Women's Month, and I was gonna leave it for a shout out, but since you touched upon it, yeah, I definitely want
She
to
can
shout
be a
out.
shout out too, man. It's
Yeah,
okay.
sure.
She gets a shout out now
I
or
guess we'll
shout out
do
at
it to
the
start at
end.
the end.
Shoot.
Okay. Okay, yeah, but definitely shout out to my wife. I'm glad that she's in good health. It was it's an easier pregnancy than last time and going through. So I just want to shout her out. She's really awesome woman I have. So I'm
Awesome.
thankful.
Yay.
Mhm.
So Fahim, let's get into our first topic this month. What we got going on, Fahim?
So Fred VanVleet,
Mm,
very interesting. Fred VanVleet, Toronto Raptors. As Raptors fans, normally it goes traditionally, Raptors fans aren't happy with how we've been uh, dealt with by the referees. And this is a rant, I'd probably say, of epic proportions. This is something that really doesn't happen. Where Fred VanVleet literally said, I'll take the fine. And he spoke very candidly about the refs and how the refs have been treating the team through his eyes. So I think that would be great for us to touch upon that. Just get some thoughts in regards to how you feel or what you think about what Fred VanVleet had to say in regards to the treatment of the refs with the Raptors. I'll just start with this. He did say, I don't mind it. I'll take the fine. I really don't care. I thought Ben Taylor was terrible tonight. He said, I think on most nights, there's one or two that just mess up the game, but it's been a couple of games in a row, and Denver was obviously tough. And then lastly, he closes out, he's saying, you come out tonight, compete pretty hard, and you get lousy texts and changes in the whole dynamic of the game, and it changes the flow of the game. So, that is pretty candid. And I'd like to hear
Fahim
from you
didn't say
first
any
of
of the
all.
F bombs that he dropped, but it's good for you, Fahim.
Yeah, I try,
It's a kid
try to
show.
keep it, yeah.
He didn't drop any of the F bombs.
I
About
try
two
to
or
keep it
three
PG.
sprinkled around there, y'all. Think of the two
Sprinkled
or
in,
three
yeah.
sprinkled in there.
Yeah. So I guess I'll leave with this. I want to know, first of all, what you thought of Fred VanVleet, and then we'll kind of elaborate to in regards to refs in the league in general. Like, do we think it's just a Raptor thing? Do we think it's league wide? Is there any difference, any adjustments that refs can make or the league can make? Nelly J, let me know your thoughts.
Yeah, so I mean, he's accurate. I mean, I hashtag what he said, hashtag rent free in my mind because I thought it was hilarious. Because Freddie is a very calm, collected guy. But the
Mhm.
issue for him, and I tweeted this out. If you follow me on Twitter, first of all, big up to all the Warriors fans who um came at me from my tweet about the OG trade. Love y'all. Love all the responses of no, no, no. But we'll see how y'all feel in a couple months. Anyway, before we go back to Fred VanVleet. So what's crazy is that his biggest issue, so you know how Freddie also issued an apology the next night as well. And his biggest issue, like, is accurate for him. We saw, and guys, I love LeBron. big fan of LeBron James, right? He had a tantrum on the court, legit, the biggest tantrum I've seen on the basketball court by any player. I've never seen anyone get so mad at refs before in my life. And the
Rich.
refs were silent night. They were silent night when LeBron jumped up and down, held his head. I think he even touched the ground as well. Like, it was a lot.
So
Fred
he
gets
didn't get
technical
teched up for that though.
he did not. No,
Oh wow, that went over my head. I didn't catch that. He did not
that's
get.
and that was that's my
So,
point for him is that
oh,
if you don't call technical foul on, I called it the tantrum LeBron moment. If you don't call a foul on that reaction, then what you cannot call technical fouls on other guys raising their hands, bouncing the ball back towards themselves. Like, you can't do that, and it's a
right,
clear bias. And I
right.
think that's what showed the refs' hands. That's why Freddie's fine was only 30K. A lot of people were like, wow, that's a really low fine. And a lot of even people on sports outlets were saying that this gives athletes the green light to complain, right? Because for him, that's the issue is that you cannot ignore that reaction, but then call text on everyone else.
Right.
So there's some bias with the, I get it, in any human interaction, anything with human beings, there'll be bias, right? No matter what.
Mhm.
We cannot stop the bias, but we can regulate it. So I agree with him. You cannot ignore that, but then call technical on everything, especially and I can't believe I'm agreeing with Stephen A. Smith because Stephen A. talked about this on, and listen, I don't watch ESPN, but I watched a little clip that Stephen A. had around Fred VanVleet's tweet. I've been rant, and I agree, like legit. People are going to the games to watch the players. I feel like the rest for him have been too involved in these games. No one's watching y'all. Yes, Gucci. Yes, you too, ref. The Gucci ref. Like, no one's there to watch you guys. This is about the players. They're paid lots of money for these games. So you technical and eject a rookie of the year who a lot of people are going to see. Let's be real. Scotty Barnes is a big ticket for Raptor game. People are going to game to watch Scotty Barnes. Okay. So you eject him because you got into your feelings. And these
Wow.
referees, Faheem, they're too emotional. Players are emotional, but guess what, Faheem? Refs are making calls on their emotion, not based on, okay, I'm a ref. I feel hurt, but guess what? This is a player. He has a reaction, and so do I, right? But he does swearing at me. Sky didn't cuss at me. He didn't call me no names. So just because I feel insulted doesn't mean I can call a technical foul. Texts are not meant for that thing. Texts are supposed to be used to keep the integrity of actual, like, the players. If I'm punching you, hitting you, if I do a hard foul, or even if I touch a ref, I swear to ref, like, text are for that. It's not for me bouncing a ball. And Freddie said it best. He said, I should be able to show emotion in basketball. I'm human. And he's like, my issue with the refs is that they're making it seem like you can have any emotion when they give you a foul. What? Why can't I show emotion? So refs gotta get out there behind. They need to, build up some more ego, okay, and say, hey, I may feel like crap because he's mad at me, but he's not being rude to me. You know what I'm saying, Fahim? There's a difference between rudeness and I feel away, right? And I think refs are refing on their emotion, which is the wrong way to ref. And I think that's the major issue why we're seeing all these terrible calls. Terrible calls. Why is it, Fahim? When they missed that foul on Tatum on LeBron, that tweet came out right quick by the NBA Referee Association. Right quick. Right quick. So clearly LeBron is getting tailored calls. So the evidence is there. So as other plays for him, I'd be annoyed too. Marcus Smart co-signed him. Trae Young, I think Trae Young said, I'm not gonna do what Fred did. But now doing what Fred does is a thing now. It's a verb. Hey, whatever Fred said that time, yeah, that's it. And that way you don't have to get a fine anymore because Fred said it for all the players. They all feel that way. So I do think referees, for some reason, they're way too emotional. It's not about them. It's about the basketball game. Protect the players, protect their health, protect the integrity of the game, and let them hoop. You know what I'm saying? When it's fourth quarter, why is now every call a foul? Hello? Why? Call those fouls in the first half. You don't call fouls in the fourth quarter because you want to be now involved. Get out of here, man. Let the better team win. You don't got to call foul in every damn call. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then the big calls, you guys missed that call anyway. So again, it's not for all the rest for him. I think the rest are doing the best that they can do, but there's too many instances this season where refs get way emotional and their emotions drive their calls. That's an issue. And I don't know how the NBA is going to solve it, but that 30K that Freddie got, that tells me, Fahim, the NBA understands and sees that there's some BS with these refereeing this season. But
Right.
anyway, I want a freaking rant for Fred upon the refs. But what's your thoughts for him on this entire situation, man?
No, I think you're spot on. 100%. Uh, all I can really add maybe is just the angle of the point spread. Now, here's one thing about betting in the NBA right now. It feels
Mm.
like,
Kyrie spoke about that too. Kyrie mentioned
okay,
betting. Mm-hmm.
okay, yeah, betting, it seems like, so let's put in context. Franchises before the league, say 25, 30 years ago, looked down upon betting in sports. The Raptors actually couldn't get a franchise in Toronto and also Vancouver also until they agreed that they would not be betting on teams. Once the Raptors put that clause in to say, okay, you know what, we won't have betting on basketball in our country, they awarded the Toronto Raptors in particular a franchise. Fast forward 30 years later, 30, and every advertisement that has to do with basketball, it feels like, is a betting platform of some kind, uh,
Mm.
to the point where it feels like the league is promoting betting. Uh, you know, whether a point spread, you can be 1 point off. And for all the people, like a lot of people can lose money just off of 1 point. Um, so the refs, they have a lot of power in regards to just even calling a tech or just even calling a foul. That could affect a lot of people financially, and especially with the league, as we know, with Tim Donaghy back in the day, he was I won't say charged, but he was found guilty
He was
of
caught.
betting.
There was other
He
refs
was
that
caught.
doing that
Okay,
crap.
that's
He
my
was just the
word.
one
He
that
was
got
caught.
caught.
Right, right. So it's not like it's
It
something
stopped.
that's,
It's
yeah, it's
probably
not like
still
something
going on
that's stopped
now.
or something that is out of the realm of possibility, to say, like, to do with the credibility of the game, right? So, um, things like this, there's refs are human,
Mm-hmm.
and there is agendas out there. I think we'd be kind of naive to think that there aren't agendas. So when it comes in, like I mentioned, the integrity of the game, once you have referees who are able to do this, uh, it's clear that the league understands that Fred VanVleet, though they don't like him calling out the refs, uh, they understand where he's coming from.
Yeah, I agree. And like when you mentioned the whole gambling thing, I'm not sure if you missed Kyrie's quote. I'll say
Mm,
quote. What the frig? Kyrie's quote. He mentioned that like how gambling and betting have taken the purity and fun away from the game. And so Kyrie went on a rant during his Twitch stream about how gambling and betting ruined the NBA. And it's something that I've seen from even last season, but he's correct, right? Um, Fahim, we've had absurd topics about fans telling Dame, "I bet my house on this on the record of the Port of Portland Blazers. Please get to how many wins." Like what? You're gonna bet your house on basketball, right? So yeah, there's addicts and everything, right? The NBA, I really hope they have people that are working in like to increase and ensure integrity within the referee because they have a lot of power for you, a lot of power. So at the end of the day, Tim was caught, but is he the only one? Clearly not. You know what I'm saying? And I think it happens in all sports, not just basketball either. That's why, you're correct. Betting, gambling, I think NFL players have been caught in gambling, right? It's not just a one or two thing in different leagues. It happens in all leagues. Players gamble. We don't know who, how. I think Evander Kane that had the NHL issue? Like his wife claimed she. Listen, man, gambling is a part of all the sports, and it is affecting a lot of things for him. The purity is kind of coming down. That's why these associations, these boards, is their goal to fight and combat that. But yeah, everything you said, I agree. And let's just see what the NBA does to respond. And I know the CBA is being written right now for him, and I'm sure they're going to have a lot of things in the CBA to try to counter and ensure that referees are held accountable, right? Um,
right.
like the whole 71 Donovan Mitchell game, that was a missed call. He shouldn't have 71 points. And you know what I'm saying? Like the LeBron missed call. There's many missed calls that happen at the end of games, and that one game could be Chicago Bulls play in spot or not. You know what I'm saying for him? Like these could be repercussions for games. Even the Lakers, that one game could be an issue for a playing spot. those two teams are ninth or 10th, or they're on the cusp of a playing spot. So your game or your missed calls can affect an entire team's opportunity for him in the postseason, right? That's why we have to have larger penalties on refs when they miss calls. I'm not saying to fire them, but we got to figure out a way to work around it,
That's
because
right. They got to be held accountable.
held accountable, something,
Right.
right? Either we
100%.
review every play like in the last minute of games just to make
But
sure every
don't
shot
they
is
do that?
valid. I don't
Don't
know.
they do that already though? Don't they already have a
They
review
do,
that
but
like
that call, that foul wasn't reviewed, and LeBron didn't get the foul call. So
right,
if they
right,
reviewed
right,
it,
right,
that would have been a foul, right?
right.
Or Donovan Mitchell's shot would have been rescinded, right? So again, this is what I'm saying is like we got to find a way, because these games now are going to matter. That one game could ruin Chicago and Lakers' chances in a playing spot. So
So
yeah,
since we're talking about the league and referees, first of all, sports betting in general, not just the league, but in general, it's about $4.2 billion, it looks like here, which is big. But I do have an interesting stat on the way out of this. How much do you think refs make per game in the NBA?
my gosh, I'm thinking a lot of money. I'm gonna say
You're
per
right.
game,
Mhm.
I would say 50 to 100K, depending on the ref. Like
So states here earns about 3,500 a game.
per game,
So
a ref.
yes, and so the annual salary can get to about $500,000 because the amount of games they do.
Yes, true. Because I forgot they do back to back. Yeah, so in a
Right,
week, if they ref, let's say 3 games
right,
that week. Well, I'm not sure how many
right.
refs they have, but I'm assuming they probably ref 3 games maximum. In
Yeah, I'll
a
probably
week,
say
they could be making like
10 grand.
nine, yeah, like 10,000 a week.
Yeah,
A
not
month,
bad.
that's 40,000. So that's
Yeah,
40,000, 50,000 a month.
yeah, yeah. So
And I'm sure that's probably like minimum. They probably make
right,
more depending on how
right,
the further you go, in
right,
seniority. You probably get a raise every year or whatever.
right.
Yeah.
So
Okay. I was totally
yeah.
off, by the way. I was like, oh my
Oh
gosh.
no, no, no.
I'm like 50,000. They're like 3,000. Oh shit. My math was that mathing.
It's all good. It's all good. All right. So Nelly J, you know what? Let's go to for the culture.
For the culture, we like to highlight individuals for the culture. And today we get to highlight a woman, a Jamaican gal. Okay. This girl is legit making moves. She is, I think, someone that we rarely speak about, I think, in the media. But if you don't know who she is the first five-time Olympian ever in Canadian history for a woman. Okay. Her name is Charmaine Crooks. Moved here from Jamaica when she was 6. She has been in 5 Olympics, have won gold in multiple, like Pan Am, World Cup, you name it. And she won a silver medal with the 4x4 team for him in Atlanta. But yeah, this Charmaine Crooks was just recently announced as she's stepping in as an interim president for Canada Soccer. And she's the first person of color and woman to have this title. So yeah, Charmaine is not one to be played with. And I think what's really cool is that, her family has been known to be track athletes. So all her brothers and sisters all ran track as well. And so she fell in love with the game. Her first Olympic game, I think, was in 84, and her last was in 96, which is pretty cool. So she's also on the IOC Olympic Committee as well, representing Canada. And so, yeah, Faheem, she's for the culture. Like, what's crazy, I'm like, oh, I don't remember. I remember seeing her in the Atlanta games, right? She was also I think the flag bearer as well in 96, which I think was really cool for her to have it. But she's someone, Faheem, that I don't think people even talk about. Like, Charmaine Crooks is for the culture. Big up to her. So Faheem, what's your thoughts on Charmaine being elected as an interim for now? The full election will be happening in May, so she might lose her post, but she's hella qualified.
First of all, I want to shout you out on making her during this Women's History Month are for the culture. You're right. Charmaine Crooks is a name that if you were to say Charmaine Crooks, I'd be like, yeah, she ran, but not know much about her. The fact that they put somebody who's obviously very, like you mentioned, very qualified with the IOC already. Like she has a long history in athletics, but for women's soccer, I mean,
for Canada Soccer. So at first she was vice president of Canada
Mhm.
Soccer. So Canada
Wow.
Soccer is kind of manages both the men and women's side.
So
And so
both
she
sides.
was
Oh,
vice
wow.
president and now she's the interim president for Canada Soccer.
For Canada soccer.
Yeah, Canada Soccer.
Wow.
So the men's and women's. And everyone
Men
knows
and women's.
there's actually a
Oh,
new agreement
wow.
happening because the women's soccer team didn't get paid from 2022. So,
Right.
they had the strikes and all that. So
I
she's
was just
stepping
gonna go
into a
down that
very
road.
sticky role where she's clean up all the mess. Same thing the Dallas Mavericks did, USA Soccer did. Like things mess up. You hire a woman that has to come in now and clean up all the mess. And so Charmaine, being a vice president of Canada Soccer, it just makes sense for her to be the president. Like, I'm not sure, you know what I mean? Like, she's beyond qualified. She was on the committee since 2021. It's now 2023. So, but of course, they have to vote on it. Elections happening in May, but we're going to manifest this for him. She
Mhm.
needs to win this. But I just think being the first 5-time female Olympian in athletics for Team Canada is also huge. And it's something we talk about Black History Month. Like, we never spoke about her before. So
Right.
she broke Black History Month many times in her career, and she's still a trailblazer till this day.
Hmm.
So it's just really good to highlight her. But in regards to you mentioning about her being, vice president, not president, like why do you think people like we don't really talk about her really in
Yeah.
the media?
So she's never won a gold medal, right?
She won silver.
She's won silver.
But
Okay.
she's won gold. She won gold in Commonwealth. So she
Commonwealth.
won for
Okay.
the 4x4 relay Commonwealth twice. She won the 400-meter gold in 1983 in the Pan American Games. She's won gold medal there, and she's won gold in the World Cup as well for the relay 4x4. So
Mhm.
she has won gold medals before, but in the Olympics she's won silver.
So I think, and this is just a reason why I just said she never won a gold medal, was just because, when you win a gold medal, your country kind of does something that they are really championing behind, right? But, and I'm talking the Olympics, obviously. If you're saying she didn't in Commonwealth, I mean, that's awesome. I think maybe the reason why, maybe two things just come to mind. One, she runs the 400, which isn't a really popular uh, event. Like, 100 is in the Olympics, the 200, the 400 is not a sprint. It's more of a middle distance and it's not really that popular. I would probably say one. And two, there's been no advertising or no commercials or no promotion through all her success that she's had as a Canadian athlete. I've never seen outside of her event running, I've never seen anything about her. So I think that's all I can really think.
Yeah, I mean, I get your point. I just think that back then in the 90s, Canada wasn't really good at that. You know what I'm saying? Like now with social
Well,
media, like I
mhm,
think now
mhm,
winning silver is huge in the summer games because you're like
right.
second best in the first of all, to make it to the Olympics is already a feat. Like being a 5-time Olympian is extremely hard. We had Anson on here who spoke about that. Just getting there is difficult, right? Winning gold in any international competition for that's hard as hell to do. You know what I'm saying? So, but for me, in that Summer Olympics, we only won 22 medals. We won 3 gold, 11 silver, and 8 bronze. So she won. So out of 22, she won 1. That's big. You know what I'm saying? Her and that team won 1. So, like, we're not kind of not known to be a high medal count Summer Olympic team. Plus, she was the flag bearer. That tells me out of all the athletes, Faheem, they're like, yeah, you represent us the best in Canada as a Black woman. You know what I'm saying? Which is huge back in 1996. So I do think they showed her, but it wasn't without social media and Black people having more power. Because remember, back in the day, we had Dwayne Watson, big up to him on the podcast. Back in the 90s for him, there wasn't that many Black producers in sports. Let's be real here. Okay. So I just think there wasn't diversity, there wasn't exposure, but now we have more people in front of the camera. We have quite a few people at CBC who are people of color in front of the camera and can bring the stories to light. I'm just saying, for me, being a sports fan and loving track, I didn't even I didn't even know about her contributions and that what she was doing until I actually looked her up. So if you're like me, yeah, let's just give Charmaine Crooks her flowers as she is here. Because sometimes we hear people pass away go, oh, Charmaine Crooks, who's that? Oh my goodness. So the fact that she's active and doing all these things now, I'm just happy that we can give her flowers.
Oh, for sure. And also it goes to show the respect that she gets. You know, I would have thought that uh, Canada Soccer would maybe lean towards somebody who was a soccer player or a former soccer player, uh, maybe in business, but just the fact that she's in athletics. And let's be real, we're talking 80s, 90s track and field, like you've mentioned, where there wasn't a lot of social media, a lot of advertising around Canadian track and field athletes. It goes to show that her work and her credibility in athletics, that they chose somebody who wasn't traditionally a soccer player or in business. Um, I think she has a good shot of getting into this spot permanently, just because she's longstanding. And let's be real, right now, the climate we're in, it's a lot. It's much easier now for women to like. This is men and women. I'll be honest. When you first brought this up, I automatically assumed it was women's soccer. What you're
Well,
saying is,
Faheem, what's funny, Faheem, you
Mhm.
brought up her credentials not being a soccer player. Guess what the credentials of the last president had? The one that stepped down for his bullshit. Guess what
I,
he guess what he did before
I
that
would
job?
I would guess maybe in business somehow, like maybe he's
He has no soccer background. He was
right,
sports
right,
management consultant, a
right.
speaker. Like
Hmm.
this
Hmm.
again, like you don't have to play that sport to manage or be an executive, right? You just have to
Right,
make
right.
right decisions, advocate for your guys, push for funding. Like, you know what I'm saying? So to me, like I just think with women, whenever we get these positions, is always like, oh, does she play the sport? But it's like there's men who get jobs in sports but have no have not one sport bone in their body. You know,
Hmm.
one have him kick a ball or throw a ball, right? But because
Right.
they're a man, you think they're qualified. So I just want to put it out there, like,
No, that's fair.
so like I don't think you have to be play the sport to be qualified. I think to run kind of soccer, you just have to be good at managing the relationship between the players and association. It's a mixture of everything, right? Like you're the
Bingo.
face and head of that organization. And I think if you have the sport background, you played, you have a better understanding because you understand the players' perspective and the business side as well. And I think she's definitely qualified. But the other person, Nick Bontis, yeah, like he had his degree from Ivy Business School in Western University, where I went, and a doctorate in philosophy. That was his background.
Hmm.
So he had an academics background. So yeah, like definitely, I think she's more than qualified, to be honest.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And actually,
Mm-hmm.
since you're saying that also, she started her career as she's president and founder of NGU Consultants. So she's a consultant herself since
Mm-hmm.
1994. It's a sports marketing management and corporate consulting company. So, I mean, you're right. I mean, if a man can come in and be a consultant in sports business with really no athletic ability, why can't a woman who's done the same thing, plus on top of that, she's been representing her country and understands the ins and outs of getting funding and being an athlete. So much love to Charmaine Crooks.
Absolutely. Just so everyone who do know, she's also in the BC Sports Hall of Fame.
Hmm.
And yeah, she was a recipient of the IOC Women in Sports Trophy as well.
There you go.
So yeah, very intelligent, driven, a leader in sports, a leader in women sports, and just athletes all around. So yeah, I mean, to be a flag bearer for any opening ceremony, you got to be that person. You know what I'm saying? So if you ever have a quiz, y'all, on who was the 1996 Olympic Games flag bearer for Canada, it's your girl Charmaine Crooks. So big up to her.
Nice. All right. So now, legit, let's close this out with our last segment, which is That's Absurd.
That's absurd. Thinking, bro, what was absurd this week? What was absurd?
This one hurts. Shawn Kemp,
Mm.
aka the Rain Man. Anyone from 90s basketball understands the influence that he had on basketball in the 90s. He was actually, I want to get the proper verbiage here, but it says here he's been released from
Jail.
custody,
From
from
jail.
jail. Yes, released from jail.
Mm-hmm.
in an act that was seen as self-defense. I just want to make sure we properly position this. Okay, act of self-defense when he exchanged gunfire in Washington parking lot to retrieve his stolen cell phone and other items. Absurd. Now
Absurd.
I'm going absurd that Shawn Kemp was first of all involved with this, but the timing of it actually makes it even more absurd because once I see this, I'm pretty sure everyone's the same. You hear about a past legend and Shawn Kemp being involved with gunfire at the same time as you hear about John Morant's
Showing a gun
flashing
on
his
IG
guns
Live.
on IG. So, I
Mm.
mean, we can maybe package this. I know we said we're not going to talk too much about John Morant going forward because he's already been our absurd for the last, I
Twice.
mean,
Three
multiple times
times.
before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but for Shawn Kemp to be involved with this, all the best to him, but we got to go with absurd.
Yeah, it's absurd. Not Shawn Kemp, but the situation is just
Mm-hmm.
absurd. Like whoever would have thought they'd wake up on on any day and hear about Shawn Kemp first, him being arrested or being called to be arrested or a warrant for his arrest, and then he got released. And it's like, it was an altercation that broke out and it just escalated into shots being fired, right? One car fled, and one man was arrested at the scene. And so the investigation has been ongoing. But once I guess they got his statement, they realized that he was acting in self defense. Now, will the police or anyone add any charges? I don't know. But just having Shawn Kemp show up on your phone as an alert, you're just like, what? Like, what do you mean? Right? Rain Man, All Star. You know what I mean? I'm a huge fan of Shawn Kemp as well. And Seattle Supersonics, Seattle wants a franchise so bad. That city wants a franchise so bad in the NBA. It's just, but all we know is that it's pending further investigation. So he's been released, but we don't know if that means he's clear of any, what's the word, of any accountability for what occurred, or if the self defense, if you know what I mean, what happened. But it's just crazy that this occurred. Kemp is 53
Mm-hmm.
years old, y'all. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you don't think of him being in a situation like this where he has to release his gun and Shawn Kemp, why not get someone else to do this for you? Like Faheem, I don't know, man. I feel like just
Don't make
hire someone
yourself
else,
an
Shawn. You don't
accessory to
have
the
to
situation.
be go there like you're an Avenger, dog. Like, yo, hire some security. Hey guys, I'm gonna hire you to do a pickup or call the police. Hey, someone has my items. Can you guys go and represent me? Or
Shawn Kemp, do
there's so
not
many
listen.
options for him.
This is
Him going by himself,
bad.
I just think it was a bad call on his part to do it himself or whoever he went with. Bad call. Your
How
iPhone
about
is
I put some bounce to this? How about he maybe shouldn't have been there in the first place? Maybe he should have turned the other cheek to whatever the situation is. And so,
well, that iPhone must have a lot of information for him. That iPhone was he didn't want the iPhone being released, right? He tracked his iPhone, but was
right.
was it so his iPhone tracked him. So they stole his car, or they stole his car with with items inside the car. Do you remember
Yeah,
like what
I
was
think it was
the
items inside the car.
okay? But they stole
Yeah.
it, right? Was it what was
Yeah.
stolen?
Yeah. Allegedly.
Yeah, this is all weird. Like Shawn Kemp shouldn't have even been there. He could have hired someone else. There's so many people. Their job is they're fixers. They fix stuff for you. Hire someone. Pay the money. This
Mhm.
way, this would not have been on the news,
So
right?
let me get some clarification to that part. So this is a written statement by his attorney to me. Okay, it says
Okay, perfect.
Kemp's vehicle was broken into on a Tuesday night. Several items were taken, including his iPhone, obviously, and
Yes,
there must have been some information on that iPhone that was worth the
bruh.
shots. But okay, uh, Kemp tracked the phone's location to an occupied car in a Tacoma mall when he confronted the individuals inside. They shot at him and he returned fire. So that would mean that if they tracked out, they took his phone, he tracked on the phone. So maybe they broke into the car, took the phone, he tracked on the phone, and met them in the mall. Hmm.
Like, what is he? Green Arrow? Like, he'll show a Green Arrow for him. Like, what is he doing,
Yeah.
man? Like, is this DC Comics? Like, bro, you have no bit for him. You track your phone, call the police. Hey, I'm Shawn Kemp. Someone broke
Mm-hmm.
into my car. My phone is tracked. I want to go and no, Mr. Kemp, let us go and address that we have cops in the area. we will go and keep tracking the phone, blah, blah, blah. Faheem, there's many options here, right? Like, come on, bruh. You know what I'm saying? There's private investigators whose job is like, come on, like, there's no way, Shawn Kemp, you're not Green Arrow. I know you wore the uniform green at the Supersonics, but you're not the Green Arrow. Okay, we need you to chill out and let people who are actually equipped and trained in this department to do that, Shawn Kemp. You don't have the training. I'm sorry, Faheem.
Yeah,
very bad, very bad call by Shawn Kemp. So to me, what's absurd is the fact that he actually went himself. What's absurd is the situation himself. But bro, make a better judgment call, man. Make a better judgment call, Shawn Kemp.
Yeah, you talk about judgment. You talk about judgment call. If he were to say he went to the police and told them what happened, if he's able to track down his cell phone and find these guys in the parking lot, pretty sure the police could have done that also.
But even I'm sure iPhone has a contingency plan. If your phone is stolen, they can they hack it and erase it? Like, I don't know. I'm not an Apple user, but I mean, you pay all this freaking money for an iPhone. I'm sure they can do something with it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
This is just too much
I'm
work
gonna go
for
with
an
this
iPhone.
is just absurd for him to be in this situation because it's much love for Shawn Kemp. And, I'm hoping
it's not towards him. I do. He was probably upset. Just a bad judgment call. Agreed.
Right. So like I started with, I think it's just the timing of it because I think this was like the day after or possibly the day of. It's like real fresh around.
It was like it was really fresh.
Real close to the John Morant gun IG situation. Then I heard about Shawn Kemp and I was like, wow, what's going on? Absurd, but we wish him the best.
Absolutely.
Situation. Most def. All right, Nelly J, let's put this episode in the books.
Yes, that is the Good Rookie Show. So, guys, my shout out is really quick. Shouting out Faheem and the wifey and the family and my girl Isla. Big up to you guys on your bundle of joy. Big up, big up, big up. Also want to shout out the March Madness. We are in March Madness, so I'm sure by now y'all got your brackets getting set up. So big up to all the teams, and I hope Zach Edey can have a great I would say numbers in this tournament because he's someone that a lot of recruiters looking at. He played hockey, played basketball in his high school, and now his team is ranked number 1 in the bracket. You know how the rankings for each side,
right?
Purdue's number 1 in their side, and led by Canadian boy. I haven't seen this in a long time. I'm trying to think, when's the last time a Canadian guy led a team to number 1 in the NCAA tournament? I don't know, but that's just dope. So big up to him. Hopefully we'll see more. And of course, on the other side, quite a few Canadian ladies playing on the Women's March Madness. So big up to them. All right.
So I'm going to piggyback off your shout out. Women's March Madness, as you mentioned. Shout out to Zach Edey, who I'm really surprised that you always hear about Scoot and Wembayamba, but you don't hear anything about Zach Edey. Is he coming out of the draft this year? I'm assuming he might be.
He hasn't claimed anything yet.
He hasn't claimed anything. Okay. No. Well, whenever he does, I think it'd be a high pick. So, all the best to him. Best luck to everyone who is filling out a bracket. I haven't filled out a bracket in years just because I find it's very time consuming. It's really hard for me now to find the time. How about you? Do you have a bracket you're filling out this year?
I haven't decided yet. I might go for fun just to see how it looks like, but yeah.
Got you.
Not really into the betting.
Got you. Yeah, me neither. So
myself, but I like it because it's fun and you can see how you your predictions are. So I do like doing brackets, but probably not gonna join anyone for money. So yeah, it's just fun to do.
Right. Okay, and I'm gonna close out my shout outs. So obviously, once again, I started with it. I'll close it. My wife, Maisha, thank you very much for everything you've done. I want to also shout out my daughter Isla. Also, shout out my mother-in-law, Bibi.
Yes.
She's here helping us out also. Yeah, she's here helping us out also. So we got a busy house here, very loving environment. So I just want to shout out everyone who's here in the home. And also lastly, I want to shout out baby Noah. The last.
I didn't want to say his name until you said it. Yay, Noah!
Okay, Noah, yeah. So, and that's how it goes down. So everybody, and if you're listening in, you're part of the Good Rookies family. So appreciate you also for sharing with us. So on that note, let's go ahead and close this episode and put it in the books, Nelly J.
Yes, y'all, that's the Good Rookie Show. If you had a good time and you enjoyed yourself, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and tell a friend to tell three friends. Three. Go on, Faheem, go on.
All right, we're on all the platforms if you're looking for us. You know what it is. It's a Good Rookie Show, and we out.